All right. Hello and welcome to our Estates Professional Spotlight and Q&A series. My name is Nordis Forcade-Martin. I am the founder and CEO of Florida Probate Partners, a real estate team that specializes in working with probate attorneys, professional guardians, and trust officers and helping them sell the real estate assets involved in their cases. During this series, we delve into the intricacies of probate and estate planning, and we do this with the goal of educating our community by showcasing the professionals who are problem solvers in this arena. As serious as this topic is, we like to bring light to these conversations, so we do expect to have some fun. And welcome to our show. We have the absolute pleasure of welcoming our very first guest, Irama Valdes. Irama and I met, I don't know how many years ago, but it feels like I feel like I've known you forever.
Wow.
And we were introduced by my husband, who's a banker, and we hit it off. And I've loved working with you, Irama, and I am so happy to have you as our very first guest on this Spotlight series because you do deserve to be spotlighted. So tell us a little bit about who you are.
Thank you so much, Nordis. I really do appreciate being the first. That has some like power to it. So I'm Irama Valdes. I am a probate, guardianship, and estate planning attorney. And I help people plan for and deal with death and incapacity. My firm is located in Miami-Dade, but we can help anyone anywhere in the state of Florida. And I love what I do. So I'm happy that you're spotlighting me. This is the only thing that I do. I'm not a door lawyer. I don't know if anyone has ever heard that term, door, like whatever walks into the door. Not me. I love specializing in these three areas.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've also heard the term dabbler. You're not a dabbler.
No.
All right. So one of the great things about this being the first episode of the Estate Professional Spotlight that we're putting out is that we really get to start from the very beginning and with really telling our community what is probate. So tell us how do you define probate?
And I love the education aspect. So thank you for providing this for the community. So probate is the process that your heirs, beneficiaries have to start to be able to transfer assets from your name after you've passed away to them as beneficiaries or to whoever the beneficiaries are, whether there's a will or not a will. But it is a court case, and it does involve the assistance of lawyers to be able to do that. And, it could take anywhere from, on a good day, 6 months to years if there's litigation. But it is the process that's needed to be able to transfer the assets from the deceased person to their heirs.
Got it. And I'm sure that the main question that follows that from clients is, what does it typically cost when you have to go through probate?
So probate, that's such a double-edged sword question, because really it depends on the case. No two individuals are the same. They don't have the same family. They don't have the same assets titled in the exact same way. So each case is a new opportunity to say, okay, this is the process that we're going to take. So when I meet with clients, I have to assess their family dynamic, the assets, how they're titled, what's left, what's not, whether there's a will, whether there's litigation. So there are so many variables when determining how much it could cost. On a good day, things are incredibly simple. One heir, one asset. I mean, like, that's the simplest possible case. No litigation. It could be, maybe $3,000-$4,000 to open up an estate. And typically, when it's something simple like that, we'll do a flat fee. And obviously, these are my fees. I am not the most inexpensive, but I'm certainly not the most expensive. So just to give your community some guidance with regard to pricing. But I have seen probates that can be thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on, again, the assets, what needs to be done, if there's litigation, and even if there's a will. You would think that prevents litigation, but not necessarily. Maybe someone else that was disinherited in the will thinks, well, that will was procured by fraud, or the sole beneficiary of that will forced the decedent to sign it. So a will doesn't necessarily prevent litigation either. So it could be tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what's going on. It's such a big range, but
No. I mean, it helps to know to have an idea. And you mentioned wills. That is typically the main answer I get when I ask a client, how are you protected in the event that you were to pass? And they say, well, I have a will, I'm taken care of. And it's that misconception that they think, oh, because I have a will, I can avoid probate. So I appreciate you mentioning that. Now, how can someone avoid probate?
Well, you made a great point. A lot of people say, I have a will, I'm good. And the will does two things. It names a personal representative, which is the person that's going to be directing the administration of the estate together with their attorney. And it says who gets what in what amounts. But it doesn't necessarily stop your heirs or help your heirs not have to go through probate. So there are several tools that can be used to avoid probate. And these options that we give our clients really, again, dependent on their family dynamics, their assets, their goals. And that's usually the three pillars that we go into when we're discussing, how to avoid probate with clients. It could be as simple as naming payable and death beneficiaries on their bank accounts. If I have an individual or an elderly couple and they have like a house and two bank accounts, I may not recommend more complicated or in-depth planning. I may recommend put your beneficiaries on your bank account, and obviously taking into account their goals and seeing like what their pain point is. Like, do they want to spend money? Do they not want to spend money right now? So that's one piece of advice that I give clients. The other is if you have your homestead, you can retitle it in such a way that leaves your children or the people that you want as beneficiaries, as the beneficiaries, kind of like a payable and death account, but for real estate,
Right.
of your house. Obviously, the answer is that always the advice? And my answer is it depends. So when we get into those details of their goals and their family dynamic, and do you like your kids? Do they like each other? That may be an option, may not be an option, but it is definitely a more cost-effective option, but it does come with some cons. The pro being that it is a little bit less expensive than, creating a trust. And of course, my favorite is trust planning, which is a legal document that an attorney prepares that has language that says, while I'm alive, I'm putting all these assets inside the trust, and I'm managing the trust. I control the trust. I'm the beneficiary. And then when I pass away, here are my list of beneficiaries. This is the trustee. This is the person that, like an executor, like in a personal administration in a probate, the trustee manages the distribution of the assets inside the trust. And what's really amazing about a trust is that when it's properly drafted and properly funded, meaning assets are titled in the name of the trust during the person's lifetime or set to go into the trust as a result of someone's passing, then you don't need to go through probate. You may not even need an attorney to administer the trust, or maybe you just need an attorney for a few hours to give you like that guidance, like, hey, this is what you're going to do. And if you have to create a deed, well, I'll create the deed for you. But it is so much less expensive and takes so not little time, but it takes less time than a probate. A normal probate can be 12 months. Trust administration can be maybe 2 months, depending on the complexity of the assets. So trust planning is, my go-to, especially when there are minor children or irresponsible children, or you're taking care of an elderly parent, or you just, you have certain assets that you really just want to make sure do not end up under the purview of the court.
Understood. So to recap, one of the main things I hear is if you prepare before, even with very simple steps that may not even be costly because you don't necessarily have the funds right now to spend on planning. If you do that, you have more control over that cost versus leaving it to what may happen if you were to pass away and go through probate. Probate, you can control the cost. Planning before, you can.
Yes. And if I may be very honest, I love probate. I love it. It pays our bills wonderfully, and it is what allows my firm to grow because it is so time consuming and we do a lot of work. So we charge a lot of fees because there's a lot of things to do, and we charge per hour in most cases. Whereas estate planning, you're capping your fees in a way because you're telling the world, this is my plan. Nobody can mess with this, and this is how much I'm going to pay for my trust. Where probate can cost $25,000, $30,000 for a normal-ish case, an estate plan with a trust could be, I don't know, anywhere between $4,500 to $6,000 for a very simple plan, one individual, or maybe like a simple, like joint married person. And that's just like a little bit of insight. And even if like the very, very simple plans that could avoid litigation between parties can be as little as $1,000. I mean, and obviously this is documents prepared by an attorney. Please, please, please do not DIY this. Do not download Zoom. What is it? Legal Zoom
ChatGPT?
Oh God, please no ChatGPT. Lawyers get in trouble for using ChatGPT, okay? So no, no AI, no DIY.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much for that. And so I really want to get to the fun part of this interview where we get to talk about you personally and the human Irama, not the attorney Irama. But before we get into that, I'm just going to ask you one last question. Why did you choose probate as a niche?
There's like a few reasons. So I'm actually looking at a picture of my grandmother. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, and it's for me, it's not just probate; it's probate, guardianship, and estate planning. Which we didn't get into guardianship, but that's a case that is that you open to be able to have the court assign you to take care of someone that needs help that can't decide for themselves. And estate planning is planning for those two. And when I saw my mom and my aunt take care of my grandmother and all the things that they had to go through and court cases and everything, it was, that to me was my first insight into this. But really, oh man, if my mom is watching, my mom was working for a tax attorney, and I was in the second semester of law school, and she nagged me like a typical Cuban mom to come sit with this tax attorney. And she's like, you have to sit with him. This is like amazing. And I was like, Mom, I just want to litigate. I want to be in court. I want to fight. I have that passion. And I sat with him and I said, okay, I'll give him 4 hours. And I sat with him and I saw the effect that sitting with one of his clients, a new client, for an hour could have. And this woman lost her husband, and she came in, she wasn't visibly crying, but you could tell she was just sad and upset. And she left hugging him and smiling. And I said, okay, that's the effect that I want to have. So she was right. I love it. It's been almost 15 years that I have to say my mother was right, which is, I'm a mom, so I understand. I'll be right too.
They typically are.
Yeah, I know. Not everything, Mom, but this one you were. So yeah, that just from that moment on, I said, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. And I just delved into, death and incapacity.
Love it. Awesome. And the probate, guardianship, and estate planning world is lucky to have you.
Thank you.
We're going to go into this, what we call the lightning round. All right. So Irama doesn't know what these questions are, and they're to get to know her more. So first question, if you could have any superpower for a day, what would it be?
Mind reading. Easy. Jean Grey from X-Men. I would love, oh man, yes, for sure.
Love it. What's the weirdest food combination you've ever tried that surprisingly tasted good?
Oh man, my husband's gonna kill me for this. Okay. Back in elementary school, my mom would make me bologna and ketchup sandwiches, and I loved it. So I know that's like, I think it's been a long time since I eat bologna because now I know things. But that was my favorite. And I do love McDonald's fries dipped in the Oreo McFlurry.
Oh, I've tried that before, and
Yes.
I don't blame you for liking it.
I don't know that that's weird, but a lot of people look at me like, what are you doing?
Love it. All right. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Okay, so first, I don't sing in public. I sing in the shower. But when I am sufficiently inebriated and I've been goaded to do it, I love Tracy Chapman. What's the name of the song? Give me one reason to. I forgot the name of the song, but you know what? Like, I'm not going to sing it. I almost sang it.
I almost had you there.
Or Alanis Morissette. Ironic.
Okay. Love it.
I just myself did. Yeah.
Nope. Nope, not at all. All right. So let's end it with, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
received. Ooh. Oh, I know. Do it scared. I had she started as someone I met at a networking event, and I ended up talking. I literally I stayed at this networking event for about, I think it was about 3-4 hours, just off to the side, sitting on a couch there, and I immediately connected with her. And we later realized we were in a networking group, and I remember she said, "Do it scared." Whatever it is that you want to do, yes, it may be fearful, it may be, you may be timid, you may not know what to do or how to do it. Do it anyway. Do it scared. And so, all the big steps in my life that I've ever done, I've for sure had some element of fear or concern, but I did it anyway. And it has not, I mean, yes, some things went wrong, but but you learn from those things and then you do it right. So do it anyways. Do it scared.
I love it. That's awesome. All right, so that brings us to the end of our show. Irama, thank you so much for being here and for sharing all this insight and allowing us to get to know you more. We really appreciate you, and we cannot wait to connect. We'll do this again soon on a different topic.
I would love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.